Paso muchas noches pensándote. Yo no sé ni cómo ni cuándo fue, pero solo sé que yo recordé cómo te lo hacía y aquella vez. Si yo no puedo seguir solo, pero sé que te boté de mi vida, te boté. Y te boté, te di banda y te solté. Yo te solté, pa'l carajo usted se fue. Y usted se fue, de mi vida te boté. Yo te boté, yeah, mami.
Baby, la vida es un ciclo, y lo que no sirve yo no lo reciclo. Así que de mi vida muévete, que si te lo metes para recordar un TBT. Yeah, ya yo me cansé de tu mentira, ahora hay una más dura que me tira. Todo tiene su final, todo expira. Tú eres pasado y el pasado nunca vira. Arranca pa'l carajo, mi cuerpo no te necesita. Lo que pide es un perreo sucio en la placita. No creo que lo nuestro se repita. Dale, prende un fil y deja uno ready pa' ahorita. Yeah. Odio saber que en ti una vez más yo confié. Odio todo lo te amo que mil veces te testé. Baby, mejor que tú ahora tengo como 10. Lo nuestro vive en un Bugatti, te quedaste a pie. Yo te boté, te di banda y te solté. Yo te solté, pa'l carajo te mandé. Yo te mandé y a tu amiga me clavé, me la clavé. Fuck you, hueputa, yeah. Yo te boté.
And welcome back to the 2019 Great Give Radiothon on WNHH-FM. Alan Appel spelled me for a while, some of those. I really appreciate that, Alan. We've been with you all day today, Wednesday. And we're going to be with you all day on Thursday to help raise money for some of the great not-for-profits in New Haven that keep our community vibrant. Every time this year, nonprofits get together to raise money jointly through the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, and you got a role in that. 406 nonprofits have signed up, and you can go online right now to thegreatgive.org. The word "the" is in there. Thegreatgive.org. And you can give to any group you want. You can find out about all of them. And this half hour, we're going to have a recommendation for you. There's a great group called the Hebrew Free Loan Burial Society. Did I say it right?
That is correct, yes.
All right, got right order, all those words. And they got a great history in New Haven, and they're going strong again. And two gentlemen who make that happen, Brian Koblitz and Mark Schifrin, are right here in the studio. Welcome, guys, and thanks for coming on NHH.
Thank you for having us.
And I'm going to ask Mark to get the microphone right away. Do you want to do the song first and get it out of the way, or do you want to start talking about the society?
Let's start talking.
All right, so Hebrew Free Loan Burial Society, it has two parts to its name. One is burial, so you take care of graves that otherwise people aren't taken care of, correct? Or you help people get buried for free in the Jewish community?
That is correct. We actually help to assist those that would otherwise have no means to have a proper burial in the Jewish tradition. And we work with the local funeral homes, Weller and Jimmy Sure. And then the other part, of course, is the interest-free loans that we do.
And that started, if I'm not mistaken, over 100 years ago, when there was that great migration to America of Eastern European Jews, if I'm not mistaken, 1880 through the early 1900s, before the doors were shut. And there were societies of people who came from the same communities, the Landsman societies and others, who helped each other out as they got assimilated in this country. And a lot of people didn't have money. They would sometimes need to pay the rent, or they'd get kicked out, or some food. And they'd come get a loan from the society, right, to help keep them going. Do we still do much lending nowadays like that? I mean, there are other lending opportunities for Jews that didn't exist back then.
It's this society brings us back to our roots as a Jewish community and how we come together as a family, as an extended family that takes care of each other. We do two things. In the burial society, what we're doing is we are providing graves for people who are of our faith and would like to have a Jewish burial.
They can't
but-
afford one, right?
but they can't afford one. And working with Schur and Weller, the local Jewish funeral homes, we provide the burial plots and stones so that there is a dignified and appropriate burial.
How many of those do you do a year?
This past year, we did 5 burials, I believe.
And do you help provide the minion too? Because you want to have at least 10 people there, so you can say Kaddish.
Well, what you do is you work with the rabbis and the funeral homes to see that there is a minyan. At the Yale Day of Service on May 19th, we'll be bringing together volunteers in the community to clean and help maintain the cemeteries.
Okay, let's take a
And
break.
I
You just
did want to mention something on that really
Yeah.
quickly. The Yale Day of Service is open to all faiths. We had many from other faiths that came last year. Look forward to it again this year.
let's take it to what that event is. So you take care of some specific graveyards, correct? In East Haven.
Correct. We have originally it was the New Haven Lodge that's now under our care, and then we have the Hebrew Free Cemetery, which is ours. We take care of both of those and maintain them. That's what everybody's coming out to clean up, do the mapping again.
So you have a free
stone
every
fair
day. You
fairs.
have every day of a day of service, and people can come help you out, clean it up.
Correct.
And you call why is it called Yale? Is it Yale students or?
It's sponsored by Yale. Yale, one of the Yale alumni actually has to host this. It's part of the community-wide effort that goes on in New Haven.
Very nice. And
Mhm.
so the date is May,
19th,
and that's a Sunday.
Sunday. It starts at 11 and is over at 3 in the afternoon, give or take.
And how do people find out how to get involved in that, Brian?
If you go, actually, I believe it's on our website now, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. But yes, it is on our website. And if you go to Yale's website, you'll find it on there also.
Excellent. So
And our Facebook page.
all right. Tell me about the 5 people you buried this year. Were they people who had family around here, or how did they come to the society?
Well, part of this is when Jewish communities would get started anywhere, the 2 things that we would start looking at as a community would be having kosher food and a place to bury our dead, and the ability to do a bris when a boy would be born. The basic requirements of creating a Jewish community. What we do is what we do with burials. In our tradition, the most important thing that we can do for each other is to take care of our dead, and because once someone has passed, they can't thank you. They can't do anything for you. It's something that we have to do, and we don't want to treat people who have fallen on harder times, don't have resources. We don't want to treat them any differently than we treat any of the rest of the people in our community. We want them to have the same dignity, but we understand that many people just have different circumstances. Their investments may not have worked the way they thought they would. Their retirement may not have been what they expected it to be. They may have died unexpectedly. And because of that, rather than looking at sort of the folks we've helped, it's just they're like the rest of us. They're all part of our family. And we don't really want to try to differentiate them.
We place such a value on those burial traditions, Jewish tradition, and around death. I feel like that's one of the great things we do as Jews. One thing I love about our tradition, I mean, we do Shabbos right, which really keeps the Jews going with the day of rest and elevating us beyond a creature that just works. And I think we have a lot of collective wisdom over time and how to deal with death as a community for the living and for the dead. And I think one of those is the care we put into the burials, and also that they're not fancy schmancy, but that the caskets aren't fancy. You do it quick, and you're back in the earth.
Well, the other thing is that I've noticed that now about half of the overall burials in our American society are now done by cremation, which is something that we do not do under Jewish law. And a Jewish burial is something that is so fundamental to the identity of Jewish faith and tradition that we want to make sure that that is available.
Do you think that'll change, guys? Do you think cremation, people feel it's more economical, it's more environmentally sound, perhaps? Although I'm not sure about that, but there's just keeping space. Are there reasons for rabbis to consider whether it could be halachic, you think?
I'm not really in a rabbinic kind of role, but I don't see that as being.
Well, there's something to be said for having the body naturally decompose without cremation and go back to the earth the way it's always been done. It's something about preserving traditions that have existed for thousands of years.
Well, if you look at a funeral in Israel, the bodies are actually buried in muslin without a casket, and in the United States, they're buried in a pine box and simple wooden casket, and this is a very fundamental element of Jewish ritual, and we want to see that this is available to those who would wish it and might not otherwise have it. And the funeral directors, I should say, do not turn people away. They are very, very helpful in terms of their services, and we make sure that the plot is available.
You're talking about Mechaber Kadisha, you know how before the body's buried, it gets washed. There's always someone sitting with the body for the day or half day or day and a half and singing psalms and things like that and washing it. Does the society get involved in that, or there's a separate Mechaber Kadisha society and everything?
That's a different.
Yeah.
That's a different matter. I suspect at some point this may have been the same thing 100 years ago.
It was 100 years ago. We did.
But now that is handled separately. But it really is a continuation of the principle of making the burials available, and the old burial society principle of the Hever Kadisha is that the body will always, when someone passes, there will always be someone after that watching the body, keeping the soul company by saying psalms.
And what we're doing is we're keeping you company here on the Great Give Radiothon 2019 on WNHH FM. We're spending 2 days, 36 hours, encouraging people to give some of the great nonprofits that keep our community going. 406 of them are signed up on one platform, and you can go right to it on the web at thegreatgive.org. Don't forget thegreatgive.org. You go there, and this half hour we're suggesting that you give to the Hebrew Burial and Free Loan Society, about which we're hearing from Mark Schifrin and Brian Koblitz. Brian, you run the society, correct?
That's correct. This year I am the president again. I took a break last year from a lot of the stress that I had going on. As you can see, I'm a little bit different than I was before, but I'm glad to be back. Very glad to be back and excited.
And when was the society founded?
Approximately 1899.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's keeping, so hats off that you keeping it going. It's not easy to keep groups like going. I mean, when you go to those cemeteries and their societies, I don't think are around anymore. Sometimes their names are on the archways in the metal. How do you keep it going, Brian? How do you get people to just do this work?
Basically every day it's having your hand out. Help us out. We need it. We appreciate it. And we have a very good group of people right now that really want to see this going and want to see the future. We have realized, a few years ago that we've had to change a lot of the way we've been doing things. And we went from, just as an example, doing $300 a year, $300 loans to, I think our highest one is almost $5,000 right now. And we're not just New Haven. We've actually helped people out throughout the state. So progress. We've had to change.
When did you get involved?
Oh my gosh. I got involved, I'm going to say about 7-8 years ago.
And
not
how
longer.
How and why did you get involved?
I was actually brought in originally to help design and create a website for the organization.
Do you do that kind of thing at work, or?
No. I did it as a self-interest type of situation. I was doing web design, kind of got away from that. I was actually out for a little while for medical reasons, and now I'm a seafood clerk. So that's a big switch for me. But so yeah, I was brought in to consult on doing a website, and we are still trying to actually get a fully functional website going. We have a lot of complications. I mean, we're still a membership organization. We still seek donations. We still do loan applications, the burials, etc.
And nobody gets paid, right?
No, that's another big part of the
That's what
problem.
make
Everybody's a
part of
volunteer.
what makes community great is that we have voluntary
Exactly.
groups where people put their time in to fill important needs. Brian, why did you get involved? Why do you do this?
Because I enjoy it. I like the outreach. I like talking to people. I like meeting all sorts of different people. And I like being part of an organization that really can go out there and help people and make a difference. And it sounds like I said, $300 loan. Well, what difference are you making? But you know what? We just, not too long ago, had somebody that made a huge difference.
What did they need it for?
Personal items. That's another thing. We try not to discuss too much of what they need, but we do respect privacy.
Do you ever say no?
We've wanted to, but as of this point, no, we have not said no.
And do you always get paid back?
No. There have been times that we've had to write it off, but surprisingly, we've had people that we thought were going to be like, "Hey, we're not paying it back," and they've come through even
that's
more.
somebody else. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So
it
now Mark
balances
Schiffer
out.
was going to come through and sing a song for us because we asked people to come on during the Great Give Radiothon, which you're listening to at WNHH 103.5 FM, live streamed at newhaven.org, to sing a song or recite a poem that fits with the theme. What you got, Mark?
Well, I think you'd probably rather I recite this.
It's your pick, but I don't assume what
I was thinking was Brother, Can You Spare a Dime?
Okay.
Because it's from a different generation and brings us the thought of what we really are doing. And that's the song from the Depression. They used to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed the mob. When there was earth to plow or guns to bear, I was always there right on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be standing in line just waiting for bread? Once I built a railroad, I made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower up to the sun, brick and rivet and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we looked swell, full of that Yankee doodly dumb. 500,000 boots went slogging through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. Say, don't you remember they called me Al? It was Al all the time. Why don't you remember I'm your pal? Say, buddy, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we looked swell, full of that Yankee doodly dumb. 500,000 boots went slogging through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. Oh, say you don't remember they called me Al. It was Al all the time. Say, don't you remember I'm your pal? Buddy, can you spare a dime? Yeah, this really, if you think about it, we're here for folks when they need some help. And that's what we try to do. It's what our community is all about. And we hope that people are going to be able to help us.
And my keep hour off to you guys for keeping this work going. So we can spare a dime, spare $18, spare $180. Now's the time. You guys are keeping this work going more than a century, back to the 1800s, and making sure people have a respectful, dignified way to be buried and help in hard times.
And God willing, we keep it up.
The Hebrew Free Loan and Burial Society. So, folks, thegreatgive.org. Don't forget the. Head there right now, please, and give a donation as part of the Great Give 2019 to the Hebrew Burial and Free Loan Society. Brain Colas, way to go, keeping it going. Glad you're in good spirits. And Mark Schifrin, always a pleasure to have you here at WNHH. Folks, we're going to take a little break. The Afro-Semitic Experience playing Sente. He's an on-time god from their CD, A Plea for Peace. We'll be back in a few minutes with Solar Youth to keep the radiothon going. Thanks for tuning in here at WNHH, New Haven's home for community radio.